All right, I want to thank everyone for joining us here to discuss Statesboro's water and sewer system. This presentation was given previously for the Statesboro City Council at a work session recently. However, we want to make sure we make this available to the general public, so we are recording this presentation today. And I do have water and wastewater staff and our consultant with Heskay Bell, Chris Burke, here in case there are any additional questions or further deeper dive into the subject. So we'll start with our drinking water system for the city of Statesboro. So as you can see from the graphic here is a quick, easy overview of what our drinking water system is comprised of. So if you look at the graphic, you'll see that water from that brown building, that water comes up from the aquifer. It goes through a well casing through the pump house. From the pump house, it goes it's raised to the elevated storage tank where water is held, and gravity provides the pressure for the system. From the elevated storage tank, it'll go through the water mains, down the public roadways, down to the public main infrastructure, and to service laterals that supply water to homes and businesses here in Statesboro. So where does Statesboro's water come from? It's been a point of concern here recently in our community. So raw water supply for Statesboro's drinking water is pumped from the Floridan Aquifer, which is a limestone formation that runs under the entire county and extends south. The next slide will go over a graphic of what the boundaries are for the Floridan Aquifer. So raw water from the aquifer is of a very high quality. This water is withdrawn from the aquifer utilizing 6 active deep wells, and we'll go in a little bit more deeper dive into that. So what is the Floridan Aquifer? So from this graphic here, you can see the boundaries of the Floridan Aquifer, which comprises all the state of Florida, southeastern part, basically south of the fall line in Georgia, extreme southern South Carolina, and extreme southern Alabama, and a very small portion of Mississippi. So the Florida Aquifer System is the principal aquifer for the United States and one of the most productive aquifers in the world. It covers approximately 100,000 square miles of the southeastern U.S. Water supplies were first drilled in the late 1880s, so this is nothing new. The Southeast has been using water from this aquifer for 140 years. And the Floridan Aquifer System is the primary source of drinking water for this region. In addition to drinking water, though, 50% of water from the aquifer accounts for agriculture and industry. So this graphic shows our existing service territory for the water system in blue, and all the red lines account for where the water mains are for the city of Statesboro's water system. So it serves the city of Statesboro, and it serves properties outside the city of Statesboro, primarily along the Highway 301 corridor to I-16 to Bruce Young Commerce Park and the Gateway Industrial Park, in addition to Geechee Tech. So Statesboro's drinking water system operates under 2 separate water permits that's issued through the state of Georgia. One is permit to use groundwater, and the other is a permit to operate as a public water system. So the monthly withdrawal permit for groundwater use under the EPD permit is 7.345 million gallons per day. And as you can see from the actual numbers, that we're actually well under that permit limit of about 4.1 million gallons per day. Annual average under our permit, they give us some variances throughout the year, but our annual average has to be regulated to 5.875 million gallons per day. But as you can see, we typically, on an annual basis, only withdraw about 3.7 million gallons per day. The drinking water system for the city of Statesboro is comprised of 3 basic components: the raw water supply, water treatment, and water distribution. The water system has been expanded to consistently exceed the demand as the city of Statesboro has grown over the years. Services are provided to approximately 13,000 water customers with an average daily water consumption of 3.7 million gallons per day. Statesboro has approximately 256 miles of water mains and 1,720 fire hydrants. So in addition to drinking water, water for agriculture, water for industry, water for commercial businesses, our water system also serves as a fire protection source. And we service over 99% of our service territory within the city of Statesboro. So our wells for the water system for the city of Statesboro is comprised of 6 wells. We have wells in Savannah Avenue, Proctor Street, Jeff Road, Old Register Road, Zell Miller Parkway, out at Gateway Industrial Park, and Gold Kiss Road, also at Gateway Industrial Park. Capacity, withdrawal rates for these wells range anywhere from 625 gallons per minute to 2,200 gallons per minute at our most productive wells. And the depth this has been a point of conversation recently with various wells throughout Bullitt County, but they range anywhere from 496 feet in depth to 660 feet in depth. And as you can see, our oldest well, Savannah Avenue, was first installed in 1908. So we've had wells for quite a while in the city of Statesboro. This is what a typical well house looks like for the city of Statesboro. You can see the water main coming in from the well site coming into the pump house, and a generator on the side. This is what it looks like on the inside. Center of your screen is the actual well motor, where it pumps the water from the ground and then supplies it through the distribution line. And then it's taken to, as the first graphic showed, it's taken to 6 elevated storage tanks throughout the city and at industrial parks. So we have our smallest elevated storage tank is on Hill Street. That is downtown Statesboro. It's 150,000 gallons. We have elevated storage tank at Claude Howard Lumber on Park Avenue, 250,000 gallons. It goes all the way up to have one at the stadium at Georgia Southern, 2 at Gateway Industrial Park, and 1 on Rocky Road out at Bruce Young Commerce Park. That is our largest storage tank, rather, at 1 million gallons of capacity. These are generally what they look like. Gateway left and center, and Georgia Southern elevated storage tank on the right. So, what comes out the ground and gets processed has to get treated. So, reverse graphic from the well and water distribution system, it comes from the house or the business, goes through your lateral to the city's public sewer main by gravity or by a pump station to a pump station, which then pumps it back to the wastewater treatment plant. This is another graphic that kind of shows how the sanitary sewer system and the storm drainage system all lie underneath the ground. Oftentimes, you'll hear in larger, older cities how you have a combined sewer system where you have some sanitary sewer and storm drain intermixing. But as you can see from this graphic, the city of Statesboro system does not operate that way. Our systems are separate. Storm drain system is completely separate from your sanitary sewer system. Your storm drain system comes from sheet flow off the ground into a catch basin, through the infrastructure underground, and then out into a waterway, stream, creek, eventually flows to an ocean. Whereas the sanitary sewer system is all contained and then flows back to the wastewater treatment plant. This graphic shows our service territory for wastewater sanitary sewer system operation. Again, everything in blue is our service territory. The red lines indicate where we have sanitary sewer mains. Our wastewater treatment plant, where we treat all of our wastewater that's processed, is located on Briarwood Road and has a weekly average permit with the state of Georgia for 12.5 million gallons per day. Our actual is usually around 11.07. And our monthly average under permit is 10 million gallons per day. However, the actual numbers are typically running about 8.29, and on annually, we average about 5.18 million gallons per day. The city of Statesboro sewer system is comprised of 209 miles of sewer collection pipes, gravity and force mains, over 6,000 manholes, 27 pump stations, and the wastewater treatment plant. This is typically what a sewage pump station looks like. Again, It's just a building fenced in area with a generator off to it. And with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant Director of Public Utilities, Matt Aycock, to go over the wastewater treatment plant.
Good evening. This is an aerial shot of our current treatment plant located on Briarwood Road out near Fair Road and the bypass. The original site was picked there for the treatment plant back in the 1950s because that was the lowest elevation in the city at the time. All your gravity sewer system flowed downhill to the lowest spot there at Briarwood. And that's where the original site was. In 1978, though, there was a major upgrade at the treatment plant, expanding the capacity and the efficiency. That's when the plant went to a more conventional activated sludge system, which means activated sludge is microorganisms to treat the wastewater to a higher level. Throughout the 90s, the wastewater treatment plant was upgraded several times, expanding that treatment capacity from 5 million gallons a day to 10 million gallons a day. And during that time, to the disinfection of the wastewater was converted from chlorine disinfection, which is not as effective or not as safe, to an ultraviolet disinfection system. And in the years since those upgrades, we have made different upgrades at the plant, the operating systems, such as adding sludge dewatering belt presses, effluent filters to get the water cleaner, and a more efficient UV system that we just did a few years ago. This is an overview of the plant here too. We do a lot of tours, public tours at the treatment plant, and one misconception, you'd be surprised to know how many people that come out there think that the sewer comes there, we treat it, and we put it back into the drinking water system, and that's not the case. They're two totally separate systems. So all of our drinking water is coming from deep ground wells from the Florida aquifer. All the sewer, that's everything that goes, the residential goes down the drains, the commercial buildings, the restaurants, the industrial facilities, anything that goes down a drain, it comes to our treatment facility. In this overview, it's kind of hard to see the layout, but what our treatment plant consists of is we have a series of screens and settling tanks to take out everything that we can mechanically out of the wastewater. After we've taken everything out that we can by mechanical means, then we rely on the activated sludge or the microorganisms to consume the rest of it. Once we've gotten it as clear as we can, we also run it through a tertiary treatment or filtering system, which gets it even cleaner. I mean, if you were to pour a glass of it, our treated wastewater, and set it next to a glass of drinking tap water, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And that's by design with the State Environmental Protection Division putting such stringent limits on plants the size of ours. They want to ensure that what we're adding to the discharge stream of Little Lots Creek is better than what's already there. So we have to get it that clean. Our ultraviolet UV system disinfects. Another advantage of using that is if you use chlorine to disinfect, you then have to have another stage to take the chlorine back out before you can discharge into the creek with UV is much more efficient. This is a slide of our wastewater effluent discharge. So effluent meaning this is what's leaving the plant already treated. So on the right side of the screen is our treatment plant, and it flows from there through a 42-inch discharge gravity line. It runs from there all the way to our discharge point on the discharge side of Birds Pond Dam off of Langston Chapel Road. And then from there it goes, it hits Little Lots Creek. Little Lots flows to the Lots Creek, to the Canoochee River, to the Geechee River, then to the ocean. That concludes the wastewater section.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate the overview of the wastewater treatment plant. And with that, that generally concludes the presentation today. I'll be happy to take any questions anybody may have from the audience. Hearing none, I want to thank everyone for joining us today and hearing the presentation on the water and sewer system, wastewater treatment plant. And that concludes our presentation.